All right, I want to share with you from beginning to end in this video here, in reference to a high probability supply zone setup that I took. All right, and taking trades like this, you can do it just as well. Doesn't matter if you're trading the micros or the full-on E-minis or any other instrument. This is all about looking at future trade setups. And I'm using the NinjaTrader platform for one. Okay, you could use TraderVate, whatever platform you're using. But the thing about it is that I use range-based charts when trading. You can probably also, I'm sure, find the same type of setups. They probably will not happen. You may see a say, for example, here I'm looking at a 120 range chart, and I'm marking my higher time, not higher time frame, but higher base zones off of this chart here, and then I move down to a lower base chart and wait for something to happen, meaning the remaining portion of the strategy to unfold, because it's all about using chart confluence. Higher base charts markup, lower base chart markup. Okay, my lower base chart in which I scale down to, that's the chart to where I actually execute the trades. But the number one thing that you need to focus in on is the market structure, understanding what the market is doing at that current time. And do yourself the biggest favor, look at a higher base chart, because you want to trade in the same direction. If the structure is being broken down, I mean we're making lower lows and lower highs, then look for pullbacks to key areas of supply. This was a supply zone setup that I took on the NASDAQ 100. And yeah, 2 contracts, I can gross $800. And I did so within a matter of 3 minutes or less on this trade. So let me break down this trade setup for you. This morning, basically what I saw was that in going into yesterday's trading session, the market was making lower lows and lower highs. Okay. Now you did see yesterday towards the end or close of session, we did break some structure to the upside. We took out these highs right here. But then shortly before coming out of London session, moving into the US session, we started transitioning to the downside, especially when we had news, this morning. And at the opening, the market pushed to the downside. All right. So we are bearish at this point. You can see the market breaking structure. But why? Making lower lows and lower highs. So at this moment, until we transition or make a reversal of the market, do yourself a favor and be only looking for shorts, is what I can tell you. Now, what was I looking for? Okay, I identified the structure of the market. You can see clearly, a blind man can see this right here, that we're bearish to the downside. So why would you be taking longs if we are bearish to the downside? Especially where you see structure being broken to the downside. Now, right here, yes, this is a supply area. But be careful about older zones, especially where we had a zone here. It didn't come back immediately to it. It moved away and broke more structure. So be careful about zones where the market pulls back to them after it's already continuously breaking structure lower, because then it can turn back around and start breaking structure back to the upside, tapping a supply area. But you got to be careful, because if we didn't make a new low, say for example, it comes up here, okay, and we don't make a new low, but we continue pushing higher and test this area here, they may be trying to push higher. So that's why this zone right here, it worked very well. Okay, it's an untapped, unmitigated zone. All right, and unmitigated means that the market hasn't come back and filled in that area. There's an imbalance resting at that zone there. If you don't know enough about imbalances, please look online, do some homework, do your research, and then you'll understand it more. But that's part of the ingredient to how I trade, in a sense. Okay, that makes up the full recipe in the strategy. I want to see an untapped, unmitigated zone. Okay, that just helps me understand that zone is a high probability zone versus being a low probability zone. Is there a imbalance resting back at the zone? If there is, that means the market hasn't tapped that zone yet. That means that it's unmitigated. That means something possibly can happen. Now, I'm not just taking the trade the moment the market pulls back to the zone that I have marked on my higher base chart. No. Once I mark that zone up, like right here, then I'm scaling down to my lower base chart and looking for the remaining part of the strategy, which I talk about in multiple videos, breaking the strategy down and how it works. So if you are a newcomer, first time viewer, welcome. Thank you for watching. please take the time to go ahead and click on that subscribe button down below. And go back and watch some of the videos so you can understand. You know, I can almost promise you, if you spend time watching the videos and taking notes, you will understand the strategy. Okay, we have had plenty of people that are that have become part of the Discord. Okay, and if you're interested in joining, the link is down below in the description portion of the video. The Discord is free. So we have people that come and have become part of the Discord and have become successful and moved on. I don't expect anyone to sit around when they're making money now using, I'm not saying the strategy I'm using, but maybe you learned something, picked up something from the strategy and able to incorporate it in your own, or maybe you're possibly using the same strategy. Hey, fair game, right? So just watch the videos. If you are interested in becoming an elite member, gaining access to the private community of videos, okay, it's very inexpensive. It's only $6.99 a month. But that's where I go into detail about trade setups, about trade breakdowns, about profit target areas, where to take profit at, about stop losses, where to place your stop at, talking about, you know, the gaps, the unmitigated zones, things of that nature, all of the bells and whistles in which make up beautiful high probability setups, as well as the video playlist and a great video that I did covering market structure. And there's tons of trade breakdown videos already there, and you want to become an elite member, the link is right below the Discord link. If you scroll down to the description portion of the video, you'll see it. But getting back into this, what I was talking about, we are bearish, okay? What I was waiting for right here, where the market broke structure lower, I was actually waiting for it to come back and test this area. But what it did, it pulled back and then broke more structure to the downside. So we're making lower lows and lower highs. Now, when it got to the zone right here, one key thing that I was looking for was that, was there already a lower base chart, meaning the 24 range chart? Was there a supply area or zone within this zone right here? And what I want to show you before I move on forward, I want to go ahead and bring the video over so I can show it to you. All right, capture it here. Play it out so you can see the trade unfold. The bigger box is that the rectangle box there. That's that 120 range supply zone that I marked up there. All right. So let's play that through right now. Okay. The trade's going on. I'm looking to pick up my 20 points here and get out the market. Okay. My stop loss is resting right back here. All right. Pulls back on me a little bit. I was up like 12, 13, maybe a little more, 14 points. And now it's pulling back. I mean, you should know by now how the market moves. I say it like that. Okay. So, okay, the market is boom. There we go. All right. We got fill there on that trade setup. Close the rest of, close out that trade there. Cause TP was hit. Now, the reason why, okay, I just discussed, there was no high probability 24 range lower base chart zone. Okay. Now, two things. If you have a higher base zone marked up on your 120, but you have a low probability zone that over the market's reacting at on the 24 range, that could be a helpful sign once the market gets to an area and rejects. Now, I'm not saying any one of these low probability areas right here, these zones here, could play out. But there was something also that helped me put the icing on the cake to take this trade going short. Now, when I saw the market pulling back, it tapped into the higher base zone, that big box, the big rectangle box here. We're breaking structure higher, right? It taps into the zone. We're tapping into some low probability areas. It comes up here, okay? It taps this low probability zone right here. What does it do? It rejects it, okay? But I'm not interested because it's a low probability zone unless it gives me more confirmation, meaning it starts to build up a form or a barrier of resistance, okay? But when it did that, rejected, pushed lower, then came back and broke right above it. Then it came up and tested this area here. Now, as you can see here, what took place here over here was that it, on the lower time frame, lower base chart, it pushed down, pulled back, broke lower, small area supply, pulling back to that area supply. Now we're creating an area of resistance right here. So when the market left that area, prior to, it built up a small area of resistance at that area of high probability supply at that time on the lower base chart. Now, when the market retraces back to it eventually, and we tap into that higher base chart, 120 range zone, it hits that area of resistance right here. You see it? Okay. Hits that area of resistance. It doesn't want to break above where there was that low, that supply area or supply zone on the lower base chart here. Okay. It rejects from it, comes back up, and now we're building more area or more area of resistance right there. So that helped me out. Prior area of supply on the lower base chart. Okay. Also building up an area of resistance there once it moved away. Came back to it, built up more resistance there in that area. The market did not want to push through that area. I'm very keen for and watching my eye on that at that point. Then the last thing that put the icing on the cake for me, all right, was where I saw a structure break, or the market break structure, create an area structure, and there was I'm gonna show you where there was an imbalance, okay, all right, or a gap at a zone, meaning a supply zone. Look what happened here. When it rejected and built that area of resistance across here, moved away from it, it broke structure. It pushed down, broke structure below. So, okay, we got to break a structure there. It came back. There are some imbalance resting right here back at this zone right here. All right, this is a supply zone right here on the lower base 24 range chart. So we created an area of resistance. Market is reacting at it. Formed an area where it broke structure lower, pull back, imbalance resting back at the low probability. Well, it is low probability because the market broke below and then came back here. But there's still an area of imbalance resting in between or inside of this small zone. Let me draw the zone for you so you can see what I'm talking about here. That zone would have been right here. Right here. Okay. Now it is mitigated because the market came back and filled the gap back to the zone, but there's an imbalance rested inside, a small gap resting on the inside of the zone after the break of structure. So we have resistance being formed at a prior area of supply on the lower base chart. Market's projecting against that and reacting at it. Then it broke structure on the lower base chart and pulls back to this imbalance inside of this previously formed or this newly formed supply area right here. Okay. So then all I did was just wait to see if it was going to react there. Now I did get in a little bit earlier because the fact is I saw the rejection here at this area of resistance that it formed inside of, the higher base. Okay. 120 range supply zone. That was a high probability zone. And then we got then we had this previous form supply area again, where it came back to it right here. All right. Let me do this so you can see it. Came back to it right here, makes it low probability, but it's building resistance there. Comes back to it, building more resistance, and then moving away. So I saw that unfolding. The market didn't want to push above that area of supply right here on the lower base chart. That was a sign of rejection right there. Okay. And it gave me enough. So then when I waited, I just waited for the market to follow through and to play out and do its thing. And that's when I actually went, took my shot to go short. For some reason, my chart is acting up a little bit. Let me see what happens here. Could be the recording that's kind of interfering. Here it goes, interfering. But anyways, yeah, this area here. You see all this resistance being formed right here on the lower base chart. Then I took my shot to go. When I saw it come back up here and then start to low, lower, high, boom, breaks lower, I went short. And then it came back, create this area at the breaking structure right here, create this area of supply, which gives you even more evidence that it's trying to push or probably wants to go lower, where there's this imbalance resting inside the zone, and then you get the break and close below, go short and aim for your 20. Okay, as simple as that. Look for signs of confluence is what I'm talking about. So 2 contracts on a 20-point move like that, if you're trading the E-minis, okay, that's going to give you, $800 right there. $800, all right, gross. Okay, on 20 points. Now, if you're doing that on the micros, of course, that's only going to be $80, but still, you're growing a small account this way. Even if you're starting off with a few $100s in your account, trade the micros, you could do it. So I just wanted to show you this from start to finish, how and this trade worked out for me, but discuss it just as well so you can understand my mind, the process of what I was thinking into this setup. Now, I don't do this typically on this side of the channel, meaning publicly and breaking things down 100%, but this is a freebie here, so hopefully you guys understand that. And also understand about when it comes to unmitigated zones, ones that haven't been tapped yet, ones where there's an imbalance or gap resting in the zone, all the same thing. All right. So do yourself a favor. Go ahead. If you're not a current subscriber, please take the time, click on the sub button down below, become a subscriber today. Make sure to turn your post notifications on so you don't miss any uploads. And hopefully if you found some value in today's video and you want to learn more about the strategy in itself, please make sure to drop a like on the video. Appreciate it. Drop a comment below. If you are been watching the videos and you're starting to grasp and understand the things that are being talked about, the valuable components of the strategy, drop a comment down below. I'd like to hear from you guys. Take care. I'll see everyone in the next one.